I've seen a few people on here who have spoken about miscarriage, and I have so much respect for anybody that has the strength to talk about. I want to describe to people what a missed miscarriage feels like, also known as a delayed miscarriage or a silent miscarriage. I want you to imagine someone has offered you £100 million. At first, you can't believe it. There's no way. How did you get so lucky? You don't believe it until you are shown a bank statement. It's confirmed, and they tell you in 9 months it's all yours. All you have to do is wait. But even though you've seen the money and it's been confirmed you're getting it, you're still terrified. Because you know the statistics. You know that in the first 3 months of people being guaranteed this money, that 1 in 3, 1 in 4 people will lose it. But you remain hopeful. As the weeks go on, you start to see signs everywhere that you are going to get this money. You can feel these signs. And then the person who promised you 100 million contacts you to say they want to book an appointment with you at the bank to show you the money, and they give you a date. You grow more and more excited. Every day that goes on, you know you are closer to getting the money. Nothing is going wrong. You can still feel the signs that you are getting the money. It comes to the day of your appointment. You get there early and you sit in the waiting room with other people who have been promised this 100 million. And you're sitting there and you're terrified and nervous and excited all at the same time. The bank person comes into the waiting room and says it's your turn. It's your turn to see your money. So you go into this private room, you sit on the chair and you wait to see this suitcase full of money. The bank person sits there and they open up the suitcase. You can only see the back of the suitcase, and the bank person stares at the inside of the suitcase silently. They say nothing. You are staring at the back of the suitcase, waiting for the bank person to say something. You then look at the bank person. Why haven't they shown you the money yet? For weeks and weeks, you've been planning what to spend that money on, what you'd invest it in, who else would get to see this money, all the trips you can do with this money, how much this money would change your life for the better. It's everything you've always wanted. So you look at this bank person and then you realise they look devastated. They then turn the suitcase towards you and say, "I'm so sorry." You look at the suitcase properly, there's no money in it. And the bank person doesn't explain to you why, because they can't. Your money is gone and all you are told is it's just one of those things. You just got unlucky. You burst into tears. Because you realise that every plan you had, everything you wanted to do with that money, everywhere you wanted to go with the money, all the good that money would bring into your life, it's gone in a split second. That money is gone. It's not coming. You then have to leave this room, crying your eyes out, and in the waiting room are all the other people who were promised money. But they now have their money. And as soon as you walk back out into that waiting room, they all look at you. You are then put in a different room, but the door is left open. So every 10, 15 minutes, you can see somebody walk past, somebody with that money. And every time you see a person walk past with that money, you hate them. You hate them with your whole soul. Even though you know it's not their fault that they got their money. Even though you know they did nothing wrong. Even though you know they deserve to be happy. For that day, you hate them. You hate them for having what you didn't. You assume that there's no way that any of them would have appreciated the money the way you would have. And then comes the guilt. You feel guilty for hating them. You feel guilty for being jealous of them. You feel guilty for being bitter of them. Because you just know it's not their fault, but you can't control it. So then you start to hate yourself a little bit. You start questioning why you lost the money, what you did wrong, what you could have done differently to keep that money. Because even though the bank person has told you it wasn't your fault, you don't believe them. Why do other people get their money but not mine? I must have done something wrong. You then realise that everything you had believed for the last couple of weeks was a lie. 7 weeks after you were told that you were definitely getting this money and you had pictured what that money looked like, you realised you were wrong. The money had gone by that point. 9 weeks after you were told that you were getting this money and you'd envisioned how big or small the pile of this money would be, you realised it never existed. The money was gone. 11 weeks after you were told that you were getting this money and you started to tell everyone about the money you were getting because you thought it would be safe, you realised it never existed. The money was never there. You had the money for 7 weeks and then it was gone. But nobody told you for 6 weeks. And when you eventually get promised again that you'll get this money, you won't believe it. And not because it's such amazing news that you can't believe it, but because you lost that money before. So of course you're going to lose it again. Why wouldn't you? And while you wait and wait again for that money appointment that you had before, you won't feel any excitement. You won't let yourself be excited. You won't plan anything just in case. Everything you did the last time you were promised money, you won't do. you. And even when you're finally given that money, you're still terrified of losing it. You will be so careful with that money. But when you do eventually get that money, and when you've had that money for a while, spending real time with this money, going out with the money, it is the best feeling in the world, and you'll never take that money for granted. And it really, really will make you appreciate that money in a way that you hadn't the first time around.